Sean J. Willimax, ESPN Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 80, ESPN2, the ESPN app. Download the app. See, play ESPN to pop up on your smart speaker, and you can, of course, download the podcast. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Guys, you could say, oh, the media narrative, this and that. I never think that I write a script for a player or anything like that. I think they write the script. I just read the script.
Are you happy with the script?
Well, Steph is one of the greatest players of all time. When people like Jay Will, whose basketball opinion you have to take very seriously, say when it's all said and done, he's going to be a top 10 player of all time, I think to myself, hold on. Without KD, like with KD on the Warriors team, everyone had their chest out because there's no way you could beat that team. You had another MVP all-time great to Steph and Clay and Trey. It's over. It's a wrap, man. Done. But on the non-KD teams, where Steph is clearly the best player, and you need juice in that fourth quarter at home in a finals game. There have been too many games that I've noticed where that hasn't happened. And I wanted to see Steph in a finals, like, for example, last 4.5 minutes of Game 7, obviously fourth quarter at home, 73-win team. They don't score a single point.
You're talking about back in 2015.
In 16, yeah. 15, very lucky that the second and third best players can't play. They can't show up on the court. And there have been, since then, I'm watching what happens with Steph. So, Game 1, oh, my God, my texts are blowing up. Steph, he hits 6 threes, da-da-da. I get it. Let's see what happens in the second half. And, of course, nothing. Nothing happens. And they lose at home. Now it's Game 2. And I said on my Max Facts, Jay, on This Just In, 2 p.m. Eastern, ESPN, I said Steph's going to take over second half of Game 2. I want him to do it, by the way, and I think he's due. But I got to tell you, when I'm watching the game, I'm like, oh, damn, the Celtics might mess around and win this game. And to Steph's credit, here comes the second half of if it's not a must-win game, it's a pretty damn good idea to win game, down already 0-1 at home. No KD on the team. Clay not playing well. They needed something. Steph stepped up and looked like Steph Curry in the second half, dancing around, taking deep threes, sidestepping guys, dancing on them. Like, it looked like Steph. And they won the game.
I mean, the first game he looked like Steph, too, by the way.
Not late in the game. Well, unless you think looking like Steph late in the game in the finals is missing a lot of shots and stuff, because that did happen.
I think he looked a little bit gassed, but I didn't – my biggest takeaway from game number 1 wasn't that Steph let his team down when it mattered the most. I didn't think they got anything from anybody else.
My big takeaway in game 1, I hear what you're saying, but it's like, well, Steph was really good early in the game,
but Max,
and then in crunch time he wasn't as good.
You go into games with narratives and you want to see that narrative debunked throughout the course of the game. I go into games thinking about what the overall narrative might be, but still letting the game reveal the narrative to me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah,
interesting that Steph Curry is third on a scoring list in the first 2 playoff games in the finals behind Michael Jordan twice. It was Jordan, Steph Curry, then LeBron James. That's interesting.
So,
if you're a high
63 points in his first 2 NBA Finals games. The next closest player has 31 points in Wiggins. Just let me finish, Max. 5th player over the last 25 years to score twice as many points as the next closest. 34 years old, 6'3" guard, averaging 32 points per game. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, it's when you watch the gravity, the attraction that he has on the court last night, there were probably 90% of possessions where I saw 2 or 3 guys.
Man, they was coming at him. I don't know how
2 or 3 guys on him.
Yes, last night is. But if you're trying to say
game
I'm not
one,
giving,
by the way.
If you're saying I'm not trying to give him credit for last night, the opposite. I'm saying, that's what I'm talking about. But let's break down these 63 points. He had more points game 1 than in game 2. Where did he play better? Just be honest about it. Where did he play better? Which Steph would you rather have had? Game 1 Steph, who's hitting all the open looks in the first quarter, or game 2?
Obviously, Max, you would rather have Steph in game 2 because he finished strong and his legs was underneath him. He didn't have a rest of 5-6 days. He just had a rest of a couple days. So it was a totally different look than game 1.
Mm-hmm. And can I tell you why?
I agree with that.
Can I tell you why it happened, Max? Mm-hmm. So I don't know what Boston's doing, but they kept targeting Al Horford. I mean, Al Horford, if we talk about Draymond Green getting punished and soft closeouts and being somewhat lazy on the defensive end in game 1, we got to call that out for Al Horford in game 2 because Steph kept finding ways to get Al Horford on him.
Yep.
And Al Horford cannot settle and be in drop coverage.
You can't, Steph Curry.
You can't do that off ball screens. Like, I'm going to do a breakdown on get up where it's like 3 or 4 possessions. I'm like, yo, Al, you got to get out there. Like, you got to push up on these ball screens and force Steph to try to beat you off the dribble because if he comes off a ball screen or if you switch on him, then you got to press him.
But he's kind of, wouldn't you say, Jay, though, he would be kind of in no man's land because if he pushes up on him and he blow by him, so I think he was in one of them situations where there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, but
once Horford is on Steph, you win.
But I want to be in no man's land. I want to force him to drive. I want to force him to be a decision maker, and I'd rather him take a 2 than a 3.
Well, but if he becomes a decision maker and all of a sudden he drives and you collapse and he kick, now you don't know if he kicking the Clay. I mean, you don't know if he kicking the Wiggins. You don't know if he kicking the Jordan Poole in the corner.
But there's
like,
nothing
you don't
that
know
could be
who
worse.
He's
There's no.
I'll
There's no
take my
outcome
chances
that,
on the other team, the other guys more so than Steph.
No, I get it, but that's still poison, right? Because Wiggins obviously can knock it down. Clay, you already know what that is. Catch and shoot is ridiculous. And then Jordan Poole, all of a sudden, he gets hot and he becomes a mini Steph. So, I mean, I guess there's nothing you can do is what I'm saying. It's just nothing they can do.
Right. But pick your poison. In other words, the worst poison is, you're going to let Steph wide open with Horford playing drop coverage on him. That's the worst outcome you could have, right? Better to pick a different poison. I'll say this. Steph, I want to get back to it. 29 points last night, 34 game 1.
Yes.
So when people just point, oh, look at the 63 points, I don't care about that. Game 2 is what I'm talking about. In the second half of the game that you need to win against a team that's beating you and has already beaten you game 1, in the finals, on your home floor, do you show up? By the way, when the odds are not overwhelmingly in your favor, when there is no KD.
But they all showed up, Max.
No, I get it, Key, but there have been too many
games.
They
all didn't show up in game 1.
But it's Steph's team. Key, what I'm saying is there have been too many games in Steph's career where I was looking for that, and I didn't find it. But last night, it was there. The reason the Warriors won is the second half of the game, right? Although I appreciate your Draymond points, and probably that feeds into it. But it's because Steph, when they needed him to in the finals in the second half, was the best player on the floor. So that's what I'm looking for.
So is the reason why Boston lost because Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown didn't come through in the second half?
No, I would not say that.
So you don't hold the other team's best player as accountable as you hold Steph?
No, I don't. We're not talking about Jason Tatum being a top 10 all-time player.
Look, think about it, though, Max. Jason Tatum had 21 points in the first half and 7 in the second half.
Yeah, he didn't show up.
He didn't show up.
I don't hear that big narrative though, like Jason Tatum didn't show up.
Because guys, this is the first finals he's played in. We have to wait for the story to emerge. Steph in 15 and 16.
But I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Steph had
30.
But Steph had 34 in the first game.
He did,
and he didn't play as well in the second half.
Right.
So and Jason Tatum didn't play well at all in the first game. Mm-hmm. So like all I'm saying,
he set the finals record for assists.
But scoring wise, he didn't.
Yeah,
play
he didn't score at all.
He didn't score.
So play solid defense
just keep the same.
A
little bit.
I do not have the same exact energy for Tatum that I have for Steph.
I understand they're different
because Steph is Tatum, first finals game, couldn't score, contributed another way. Got his scoring going in the second game. Let's see how this unfolds for Tatum. But Steph Curry is being talked about by Jay Will as top 10 player potentially of all time.
Yes.
So, and we have a much bigger book on Steph's finals performances.
Yes.
And if we're going to sit here and pretend that there isn't something about the second half of finals games when their teams are evenly matched without KD, come on, man. We know there's something. So he did it last night. I'm celebrating that. He did it. But, that's what I'm talking about.
Bad celebration, Max. It's a bad celebration.
It's a bad celebration. He came through in the second half of a finals game. What? Is there a problem brewing in Utah? We'll tell you next, right after he tells you about all the money we're giving away.
Yes, that is correct, Max. We're going to hook up one lucky listener with a second chance to win $2,000 tied to Game 2 of the basketball championship game last night. To enter win, here's what you need to do. Keep listening, and Keep listening, and in the 7 o'clock hour, we'll announce a winning word. Text that word to 777-000 to enter for a chance to win $2,000 of cold, hard cash. And keep listening to this show and the NBA on ESPN Radio broadcast, the broadcast championship, because the prizes get bigger. In fact, the prizes grow by thousands of dollars each game. So if the series goes all the way to Game 7, the final prize will be $7,000. So you better hope it goes to Game 7. There's no purchase necessary, and you can go to ESPNradio.com to complete sweepstakes rules one more time. Listen to the 7 o'clock hour today to hear the winning word and text it to 777-000 for a chance to win $2,000.